Hello and welcome back to the Solland Uprising Mighty Empires campaign. I am Gary and Reaver. In this, I'm playing games of Warhammer on Tabletop Simulator, which affect an ongoing campaign of Mighty Empires. This is the last battle of the first round, so if you haven't seen the other two, you should go check those out. They're linked in the description. And this one is between Wissenland and the Solland Revivalists. So, Solland Revivalists, these are the upstarts who are essentially rebelling against the Empire to try and reinstate Solland as a province. And they are being led by Kastor von Braun, the supposed descendant of the previous count, represented by a general of the Empire. He's also being assisted by a wizard called Johann Bruckier, who may be a believer but may just be here for a paycheck. The rest of the army is sort of non-standard for an Empire one to show that Kastor is sort of raising this army from nothing. So it's a lot of militia, some crossbows which are generally local to Solland, and some pistoliers, basically nobles that he has convinced his cause is just. And in the centre of it all are some Knights of the Blazing Sun, who are also from Solland and believe that it should be reinstated as a province. The Wissenland side, which looks a lot larger and more impressive, I will admit, is being led by Helmut the Lucky, who is one of the luckiest captains in Wissenland. Beside him is his good friend Otto Helshan, who is the battle standard bearer, and there is a wizard called Kaslad Hofwitz, who is a metal wizard. They're both metal wizards because they're against the Empire, and they're very good against the Empire. And then a warrior priest called Priest Culper. And the rest of the army is Wissenland Staples, a massive unit of halberdiers, I still can't remember which is the right way to pronounce that, some spearmen, crossbows, some more pistoliers, and then some firepower, which is the first firepower we've really seen in this campaign. The board is pretty sparse and normal. It's representing Solland, or, Sudenland, and the central thing is the Acropolis of Heroes, which is where Kastor has decided to fight his first victory. Essentially, he marched here and then waited for Wissenland to send something to attack him, which they did because they don't like him. The trees are mysterious, that will be discovered the first time they're entered. The Acropolis units within the border are stubborn, which means they're always steadfast, and anything garrisoning it gets a +1 to hit. It is a 1,500 point battle line scenario, so let's crack on with deployment. First of all, roll off to decide board sides. Blue is Solland and red is Wissenland. Blue wins. Solland will go with this side, both because that's the side they're on, but also they get the hill to start off with, and they don't have the mysterious woods, which could be anything. Now roll to see who deploys first. Again, blue is Solland. Solland deploys first. Both sides have a level 2 wizard. Glittering robe. Augment, scaly skin. That is probably a bad call when the other side has a metal wizard as well. So instead I'll swap that for the signature Searing Doom. And the second one, Plague of Rust. Ooh, that's a good one. Target save is reduced by 1 for the remainder of the game. That is a really good one. Not bad for Bruckier. And Kaslad, Plague of Rust as well. Also a good one. We're going to be seeing a lot of the same spells in this, I think. And the second, Transmutation of Lead. Ooh, yeah, that'll be a fun one. Question is, do I want him to not have a magic missile? Yeah, I think there are sort of two ways to use the Law of Metal, which is all about armor saves, essentially. Strength of stuff is determined by armor saves. So you can either go the Searing Doom, where sort of you target stuff with high armor saves, or you can go the Plague of Rust, where you reduce their armor saves, essentially reducing your offensive ability, but weakening the enemy. So if I also go with Transmutation of Lead, Hofwitz is going to be very much all about the debuffs. And thinking about the Searing Doom I took, there isn't really much on here that's going to be particularly good for that. Like, some of them do have shields, I think. I believe the halberdiers have shields. Or the spears have shields. But otherwise they're going to be relatively low armor. First of all, this unit of militia are going to go right there with the intent of occupying the Acropolis. And to confront them is going to be the big block of spearmen, which also contains the battle standard, that will go here to try and take that from them, basically. And their detachment is the archers that also contains Kaslad. Deployed there. Next will be the Knights of the Blazing Sun with Kastor, because the mistake I made in the previous Empire match in this campaign was having both the General and the Knights at the edge, where they couldn't make use of the Inspiring Presence and didn't really contribute much at all, so not making that mistake again. And the next one is going to be the massive unit of Halberdiers with both the General, Helmut, and Culper, although I am going to shift them around a bit so that Helmut is a little more centrally located. To face them, and feeling a little less certain about it, is the big unit of Militia, but they are worried about taking on such a large unit of Halberdiers. Oh, I forgot the detachment of archers for the Halberdiers, so they have to be deployed at the same time, so they count as that deployment. I think the Pistoliers are going to be going from here, matched by the Pistoliers over here, and actually I should name these to make sure I don't get them confused. They're going to go there, I think. These woods are sort of interrupting where they would go. And then we're down to the 2 war machines and the scouts. So the mortar, I think, is going to go right down in this corner. Unit of crossbowmen up on that hill. And a thing to note about this army is there are no regimental or detachment units. They are just ordinary units and militia. The great cannon is going to go... Ooh, this, to be honest, this needs a good place to shoot from. So I'm thinking here. And then it's got this like lane of fire there, but maybe it needs to be over here. I don't like to have the war machines together just in case something happens to one of them, but I think I'm going to struggle to make use of it if it's anywhere else. The other unit of Pistoliers, all the way up here to try and... They're not going to be able to slip past there, are they? No, they're not. In that case... Well, they can't slip by there either. Wow. Okay, the woods are just too close to the edges. So I guess here to try and move in. And then the scouts are left to last, so it is continuing with Solland, with the other unit of crossbowmen, I think down here. And then finally, Johann. He needs to be somewhere good... where is a nice line of fire, so I guess on this hill, I think. And then finally, the huntsmen have scouts, which means they can be deployed anywhere on the board, as long as it is at least 12 inches away from the enemy. So I think I'm going to start them in these woods, like so, because that is 12 inches away, and it is a good cover position. I could have started them in the Acropolis, I think. Oh no, not quite. It would have been a bit too close. But now that deployment is done, I roll to see who goes first, because that's the way I do this. I don't know if that's the way it's intended. And the red dice gets a +1 for finishing deploying first. It is the red, so Wissenland decide whether they want to go first or second. And they would like to go first. By the way, the units up here are the tight formations for the skirmishers. That's the 2 units of archers and the huntsmen. First Wissenland move phase. Everything apart from the Pistoliers is a movement of 4, so the spearmen are going to walk forwards and then march as well. So they can get into this Acropolis before the enemy can. Whereas the Halberdiers are just going to move 4 because they can't march through woods without endangering themselves. The archers are going to move 4 forward as well, which will bring them into range to shoot, but they will be at -1 for moving. Oh, I almost forgot the Vanguard rule. This is the Pistoliers, who are fast cavalry, can make a free move of 12 inches, and they roll off to see who goes first. Blue is Solland. And red, so Wissenland go first, and then they alternate. Move 11? No, they're going to move 10 to there, 9 to there, and then reform to there. But I kind of think neither of these are actually going to move. I think they're going to try and stick with the army bit. I don't know how to use Pistoliers. I've never used them before, so I guess we will see. Huntsmen aren't going to move, but the archers are going to move up a little to there and then rotate 1. And the Pistoliers are going to move a bit more because they can actually move now after the Vanguard doesn't count, you see. They're going to move up to there. Are they within range now? They're literally just out. They're going to move another 4 inches forward. They can move into the woods as long as they don't march or anything through through woods. So I should find out what the mysterious woods are, actually, both of these. Oh, and that one, all 3. We'll go top to bottom. So the one the huntsmen are in is an abyssal wood, which means that units with the majority of models inside cause fear. The halberdier wood is also an abyssal wood. And the one the pistoliers have just entered is, in fact, an abyssal wood. Fancy that. Bloody 3 2s in a row. I guess the logic of that is something around the Acropolis is causing the woods to warp, which is a bit worrying. Magic phase. Total of 7 with 5. The warrior priest Culper is able to help channel, so 2 dice for channeling, and then 1 for Johann. Nothing. I think Caslad is going to open with a transmutation of lead onto the unit of knights. It is within range, and he needs to hit a 12 in order to reduce a load of their abilities by 1. He's only going to use 3 dice. Oh, that's a bit risky. No, he's going to try 3 dice because he wants to use Plague of Rust, but knows they've got enough. No, it's more important to get the Plague of Rust off, I think. So instead he's just going to use all 6 dice that he can to cast Plague of Rust on the unit of knights. Risking an explosion straight out the gate, but no. A total of 20. Brookir is going to try and dispel with all 5. 19, he fails it. Oh, damn. Then I guess that passes. And they have their armor save reduced by 1 for the remainder of the game. Pretty devastating on knights, especially with the general in the unit. Culper could probably also cast something. He might be able to get something off on a single dice. I don't think it's worth it, though. There's nothing really to do with it. Shooting. Now, this is a pretty shooty army, because it's got a mortar, a cannon, 2 units of archers, and a unit of huntsmen. I don't know that the cannon can actually fire, because although they're sort of raised over, maybe it could see between them. Ooh, I feel like that's risky, though. Shooting a cannonball through or over your archers. I'll start off with the mortar, because that definitely can. Place the large round template anywhere within 48. Let's go straight for the big unit, I think. Right there. Yeah, that's going to do a ton of damage if that hits. And rolling. Direct hit. Ooh, that would have scattered a long way. Oh, that is actually slightly too far. It depends where you're measuring from. Okay, no. I'd say that's fine. Like, measuring center to center is too far. But from the edge of the base to the center, it's not. The mortar inflicts a strength 6 hit on the model under the center, and then strength 2 hit on everything else. That's going to be 24 strength 2 hits and 1 strength 6. Center guy, he gets hit, and the militia have no armor at all. Oh no. The champion is fine, and then 3 loads of 8 for the rest of them. 1, 4, 8 kills. Oof. That is just over 25% of the unit, and that is enough to prompt a panic. Testing on 9, they pass. Ooh, that's lucky. If that unit had broken in the very first shot of the game, that would have been devastating, but I didn't know that these guys had no armor when I bought them, and to be honest, neither did Kastor. The pistoliers are going to shoot at the crossbowmen, but they're going to have a hard time. By my count, 4 of them are firing on a -3 for long range, having moved and multiple shots, whereas the other 6 are firing on a -4 for having to shoot through the woods as well. This one counts as in the woods, so therefore doesn't get that penalty. Because of the way it works, they need a 7+ to hit, which is a 6+ and then a 4+, so 12 shots. 3. And on the 4s, 1 hit. The champion, none. And the rest, 24, are hitting on 6s and then 5s. 2. Oof. 0. But that's why they're like a multiple wounds 5 weapon, because they have such a low hit chance. Out of, 40 shots, 2 have actually hit. But at strength 4 and armor piercing, they're just gonna, 1 kill. The archers are gonna shoot at the pistoliers. 3 hits, 1 wound, no save. These 4 archers, the only ones within range, are going to shoot at the militia. 1 hit, no wound. By the way, which way do you prefer me to explain the rolls? So the way I did it in the first one and the way I'm doing it in this one is I just say the number of shots and the number of hits. So 4 shots, 1 hit. Whereas the way I did it in the second battle was I would explain what they needed to hit as well. So it was 4 rolls on a 4, 1 hit. My concern was that it was like too many numbers and that like it was hard to follow what I was actually saying, especially when the thing they're rolling is visible on the screen. So let me know which way you prefer. I can do it either way. I prefer this way because it's a bit quicker for the editing and it makes the video a bit shorter. But if it helps you understand what's going on better, I can say the number. I just don't want to confuse by saying too many numbers, you know? The huntsmen are going to shoot at the pistoliers. 9 ordinary guys, 4 hits. Champion, no hit. 1 wound, not saved. And as I would say, the cannon, I would say that it can't because of the skirmishing in the way. Even though it can technically draw line of sight between them, I don't feel right about trying to take that shot. And with no combat, that takes us into Solland Turn 1. I think I'm going to open with a charge. That's 18, and they have a movement of 7. So I'd need a 9, but they have Swift Stride, so 9 on 3 dice. You know, like 3 chances. I'm going to go for it. Like, they can be counter-shot by the archers, but I think that is worth a try if he can get into combat that early. Oh, he makes it as well. Wow. So because this is a detachment of the regimental spearmen, it can do a support fire reaction and basically do a standard shoot even though they're not being charged. 10 shots, 2 hits, no wounds. And Kastor's unit charges straight in round here to smack into there. So it's not much contact, but it's enough to count as a charge. And to remind you, I'm using my homebrew cavalry impact hits rule, but I'm going to try the sort of the next level up and have the number of ranks increase the strength. So this will be at a strength +1 for the impact hits. The militia are going to move up, and they're far enough away that they can march. Same with these, they're going to march up. Brook here is going to move to there so that he has line of sight. Pistoliers are moving up to there to try and shoot the huntsman. Pistoliers are moving up to there to try and shoot Kaslad, ideally. And the 2 crossbows aren't moving. Magic! 9 and 5. Channeling for Wissenland. 1. Channeling for Solland. None. I'm thinking Kaslad's going to do a Searing Doom against the Halberdiers. It was really a mistake taking Searing Doom. They just don't have the armor that is normally sort of a staple for Empire armies with the knights and such. But yeah, he's going to have to try and do the best he can. So Searing Doom on 3. That is 14 total. That is enough. I think he's not going to try and dispel it because it's a low chance of damage and he wants to save it for the Plague of Rust. D6 hits. 2. And the reason it was barely worth dispelling is they have a 6+ armor, so no damage at all. Plague of Rust, however, he's casting on the Spearman, because he can cast that into combat, and he's going to use 6 dice because they have 6 left to dispel. Wow, he didn't explode! 25, that's going to be tough. So Kaslad is not going to try. He's going to use his Dispel Scroll, which instantly dispels any spell that is not Irresistible Force. Just gone. It's a 1-use item, but a 25 would have been very hard, and this is about the most important unit to protect, so yeah, that sucks for Solland. Shooting, we have 2 units of crossbows and 2 of pistoliers, so I'll just move along the line. Crossbows against the pistoliers here. 5 hits, 3 wounds, 1 save, 2 dead. The pistoliers are actually out of range, so they can't shoot. Crossbows are shooting the halberdiers, the ones that are outside the woods. 2 hits, 2 wounds, no save. And all of these pistoliers are going to unleash all they can against the huntsman. Champion, nothing. And 32 shots from the others. 3, 5, still rolling to hit. Total of 3 hits. 1 wound, no armor. Not a great round of shooting, but hopefully Kastor can do some damage in the combat phase. He is going to challenge, which shall be accepted by Otto Helschen. They both have an initiative of 5, so they'll strike at the same time. I'll do Kastor's first. 3 attacks, 1 hit, 1 wound. Saved it. Helschen, 3 attacks, all misses. Kastor's horse, miss. I forgot to do impact hits first. I'll do that now. Only 2 horses actually made contacts. That's 2 impact hits at would normally be a 3, increased to a 4. 1 wound. Not saved, so 1 dies to impact hits. Due to the arrangement of the units, only 1 other knight can actually hit in the combat, because this one can only hit the one that was in the melee, and I don't count that as being allowed, whereas this one can technically also hit this. The knight strikes at the same time as the spearman and the horse, and misses, which is a shame because he had a lance. But the horse can't strike because they can't make support. By my reckoning, 3 spearmen can attack. 1 hit, no wound. 1 for rank, 3 for rank, 1 for banner each, so it is a draw because they also both have musicians. Wissenland Turn 2. Halberdiers are still moving up, but they're not going to charge out of the woods. Pistoliers are going to move closer so that they're in a much better position to shoot the ever-loving hell out of this unit. And I'm going to move the cannon because I put it in a really bad place, and I'm going to struggle to use it where it is. Magic! 9 and 5. Channeling Wissenland. 1. Channeling Solland. None. I think the obvious thing is a Plague of Rust on this unit again. On 6 dice. 23 total. Try and dispel that on the 5 he can. Oh, that's bad. Not even slightly close. The armor is reduced by another 1. Ooh, that's really bad for them. And then a transmutation of lead on the same unit. 15. Can't dispel that, so they get -1 to weapon skill, ballistic skill, and armor saves until the next magic. Sadly, the mortar can only fire at what it can see, so it can't continue to bombard the militia. It's going to have to go for the pistoliers. Misfire! Oh no! The mortar uses the Black Powder War Machine misfire chart. And a 4 is malfunction. Fails to ignite, must be emptied, cannot fire this turn or next turn. Pistoliers are going to open up point blank range on the crossbows. These 2 are still at long range somehow. Champion, 2 hits. 5 not at long range, 2 hits. 4 hits. And the 2 at long range, 3. Total of 3. I don't think I like how close the pistoliers have to get to hit much, really. But that is 7 wounds, which definitely triggers a panic test. On 7, which they pass. 10 archers against the pistoliers. 5 hits. 2 wounds. 1 save, 1 dead. 10 archers against the militia, 1 of which will be shooting through cover, all at long range. 9 not shooting through cover, 3 hits. And the other guy, nope. 2 wounds, just 2 dead. Huntsman against the pistoliers. Champion, hit. 6 other hits. 2 wounds, that's unfortunate. But no saves. And 2 wounds isn't quite enough to trigger panic, but close. The only combat is this one, but to be honest, they probably both would have reformed to get more of their units in contact. First, the challenge goes on between Kastor and Otto. Kastor, 3 attacks. 1 hit. No wound. Otto, 3 attacks. 2 hits. 2 wounds. Even with a -2 to his armor save, Kastor still saves on a 2+. And fails both! Oh my god! That is devastating. I mean, he has 3 wounds, so he is still alive, but that is astonishingly bad. And then his horse misses. Knights and spearmen attack at the same time, but I'll do the knights first. 8 attacks. 8 hits. 3 wounds. 2 of which are saved. Unfortunate. 3 horses. 1 hit. 1 wound. Not saved. But because they have spears, they get an extra rank, so they're hitting with 12 attacks. 6 hits. 3 wounds. With the -2 they're saving on 3s. Still 1 fail. With the ranks, the knights lose by 3. However, because of the Acropolis, they are stubborn, which means they are considered always steadfast, so they're just testing on their normal 9. And because of Hold the Line, they roll 3 dice. And, ooh, pass, but just. Solland Turn 2. The militia are charging the halberdiers, so they need 5, which they don't get. They just stumble forward 4 inches. Oh no. The other militia are going to move into and occupy the Acropolis. So I shall put him there to signify that. The Pistoliers are going to move forward to get some of those really nice point-blank shots. As are these, because they really want to kill off Kaslad's unit. But the rest are not going to move. This is really looking ropey. I feel I absolutely messed up with the army list for Solland. But into magic. 8 and 5. Channeling Wissenland. Channeling Solland. No. Brookir is going to go with another Plague of Rust on the Spearman. Desperate to try and do something there. Let's roll 6. Oh, that's not a good roll. 17. Try and dispel on 5. 17. I believe meets it, beats it. Dispelled. I guess a Searing Doom against the Halberdiers, but it really doesn't feel worth trying. Just on the 2 dice. Nope. Needed more than that. So not cast. Shooting. Crossbows point blank at the Pistoliers. Both miss. I guess they're panicked. Pistoliers against this unit, but because they're skirmishers, they get an additional -1 to hit. They probably would have been better off charging into combat, now that I think about it. Champion. Nothing. Other 4. Total of 3. And the back row. I don't think I like Pistoliers that much. 2 wounds, though. I mean, the mistake there was I definitely should have charged into combat. Against, like, a skirmishing range unit, they'd be worthless to shoot at and terrible in combat. So, yeah, I should have charged. Crossbows shooting the Halberdiers. 1 hit. A wound, though. And over here, the Pistoliers are going to try and light up the Huntsman. I've realised they should have also had a -1 to hit against because they're also skirmishers. Champion. Nothing. 24 shots hitting on 8. Total of 3 hits. 1 wound. No save. Awful. Really, really terrible shooting. I feel like this entire army's faltering. Maybe I shouldn't have gone like all militia and Pistoliers. Turns out, not a good build. Combat. Kastor versus Otto. Kastor's attacks. 2 hits. 1 wound. Saved it. Otto's. Nothing. Kastor's horse. 1 hit. And a wound. Saved it though. 8 knight attacks. 4 hits. 2 wounds. No saves. 3 horses. 2 hits. 1 wound. No save. 12 attacks back. Oh damn, hang on. Sorry, the knights were on -1 weapon skill this round. And -1 armour. Spearmen get 5 wounds. 2 failed the saves. Yeah, so 2 of the knight attacks shouldn't have hit because they were hitting on... I rolled on 3s, but they should have been on 4s because of the -1 weapon skill. So I'm going to have to re-roll those wounds. So 2 rolls to wound instead of 4. None. 2 spearmen come back to life. So they don't get a rank bonus, they get 3, so Kastor's unit loses by 4. Still stubborn, still testing on 9. Which they pass. Wissenland 3. Halberds are going to charge. They don't need to roll, but they are going to have to test for dangerous terrain for some of them. Total of 18, but it's a big unit, so it shouldn't have much impact. 2 fail. 3 fail. This is the unit with both Helmet and Culper. The Pistoliers are going to charge in because I've learned that that's probably a better way of doing it. I'm just going to sit the cannon here. Mortar still can't fire. This unit are going to rotate 1 and then move a little over. Magic. 7 and 6. Wissenland Channel. Nope. Solland Channel. Nope. You guessed it, going to be another Plague of Rust. On 6 dice. 20 total. Trying to dispel. 22, they actually managed to dispel it. And now that Culper's going to be in battle, let's go with a battle prayer. I think a Shield of Faith is probably better against these because militia have a lot of melee attacks. Only have the one power dice left, but that succeeded. Can he dispel it on 1? Because he's got 1 dispel left. 3, 5, yep, he meets it because of his wizard level. Shooting, the mortar can't fire this turn, but will be able to fire next turn. Archers are going to shoot at the pistoliers. 4 hits. 4 wounds. 1 save, yikes. Pistoliers have to test for panic as they just lost 3 of their 8. I found a way to, a very weird way, but I found a way to recolor the circles so white is the inspiring presence, so they are within Kastor's inspiring presence. Testing on a 9. They pass. These archers are shooting the pistoliers. 8 can see normally, 2 shooting through cover. 3. Just 3. 2 wounds. 1 save, 1 dead. Huntsmen are going to shoot. Champion. Hit. Rest of the unit. 3 hits. 2 wounds. Neither saved. They have been depleted enough that they also have to take a panic test because they've lost 3 this round. Testing on no, they're no longer within the the Inspiring Presence there, so they're not in Inspiring Presence. Testing on 7, they got an 8. They panic, they break. They flee 9. Directly away like so. Uh-oh. Combat, we'll do this one first. Kastor and Otto. Kastor's attacks, 1 hit. No wound. Otto's attacks, 3 hits. 2 wounds. Still on a 2+. And he saves them both. Oh, if Kastor had died. Yikes. Kastor's horse. Miss. 7 knight attacks. 5 hits. 2 wounds. 1 save, 1 dead. 3 horses. 1 hit. 1 wound. No save. 12 spearmen attacks. 5 hits. 0 wounds. And despite that, they still win the combat by 1. Still stubborn, testing on 9. Which they pass. This combat, Helmut is going to challenge, and he is going to be accepted by the champion. Helmut has a higher initiative, so he attacks first. 3 attacks, 3 hits. Yeah, the guy's dead, 2 wounds. That did not last long. Culper will make way so that he is in range to fight. He would go next, but he has a grey weapon, so goes last. All the others go at the same time. Because they have extra weapons, 15 attacks from the militia. 9 hits. Only 2 wounds. 1 of which was saved. 11 halberdier attacks back. 7 hits. The halberds give them +1 strength, so 5 wounds. No armor. Yeah, these guys were a horrible mistake. Hang on, they're a horde. They get an extra row of attacks. 3 more hits. 2 more wounds. 2 for ranks. 3 for ranks. Okay, they lose by 10. However, they are within 6 inches of the Acropolis, so they are still stubborn. And within range of Kastor, they are testing on a 9, despite losing by so much. And they pass. And then down here, Pistoliers versus Crossbowmen. They all strike at the same time. And because these are fast cavalry, they don't have the impact hits. 2 Crossbowmen, 1 hit. No wound. Pistoliers get 8 because their brace of pistols gives them extra attacks, 4 hits. 2 wounds. No save. That's it, they're dead. And the unit shall reform to face that way. Ready to continue round into the rear. Solland Turn 3. These Pistoliers are going to charge, and they are within the minimum, so they don't get stand and shoot. They move in like so. I think it might have been a mistake garrisoning this unit, because they just sort of sat there. They can't move out. There's no space for them to move out, so they'd have to move back out here and then march round. And like they can't charge out, and they're just ignored while the other units get rid of the rest of the army. Yeah, this was really, really silly of me. Oh yeah, and Kastor's unit are going to try and reform from defeat to reposition a little. Again, I should have done this at the end of the last one. I completely forgot. I always completely forget. On a 9. Yeah. Just to get some more people in contact because we're sort of at a bit of a disadvantage here. There's definitely no space for them to move out in there. Even if I reform them into like a really thin column, they'd probably still be a bit too close to these two to be legal. Let's try and rally the Pistoliers on a 7. Success. Magic. 7 and 4. 2 channeling. 1 channeling. None. Plague of Rust is... I'm just going to throw everything onto a Plague of Rust to try and get that through and start weakening these spearmen. Please don't explode. 22, that's pretty good. 5 to dispel. 23, oh no. Because it's the roll plus the wizard level, and Kaslad's the 2nd level wizard. He can dispel, add +2 to his dispel. Oh, that was a short magic phase. The Pistoliers rallied, so they can't shoot. Crossbowmen are going to shoot at the archers. 1 hit. And no wound. And that's it for shooting. Oof. Combat. The Pistolier Outrider is going to challenge, but Kaslad is going to refuse. Dishonourable as it may be, it's the only way he can feel safe. All striking at the same time, I will do the archers first. 8 archers, 3 hits, 1 wound, no save, they got a kill. Between the Pistoliers, their extra attacks and their horses, 15 attacks, 12 hits, 6 wounds and no armour. No ranks, so the archers lose by 6. They're not within range of Inspiring Presence, but they are within range of the Battle Standard Bearer, meaning they can re-roll when they inevitably fail this double 1 roll. Yep, failed it with a re-roll. Failed it again. They flee 5 and are pursued 8. Kaslad is run down by the Pistoliers as he flees down the hill. Next is this fight, because it has their general. It's better to do that before the fight with my general. No one left to challenge, so Helmut strikes first. 3 hits, 3 kills. I forgot to do Kulpa's attacks. Whoops, I'll do those now. Because they were right at the end of the fight, I just completely forgot to do them. He got 1 kill. So I'll take it away now, but I won't count it towards this combat. It wouldn't have changed things because they were unaffected by the combat res when they were testing. 15 militia attacks. 7 hits, 1 wound, 1 kill. 17 halberdier attacks, 5, 9, 8 kills. That unit is all but wiped out now. And Kulpa, 1 hit, 1 kill. Yeah, they lose that fight quite conclusively, but they are still stubborn because of the Acropolis of Heroes. Also, I've just realised Kulpa and the halberdiers should have hatred, re-rolling missed attacks. Bloody hell. So that was 8 attacks missed from the halberdiers. Further 3 kills. Yeah, that's enough to wipe out the unit. Welp. They tried their best and it was not very good. And they are going to reform from victory to prepare to assault the Acropolis. And now Kastor, continuing his challenge with Otto. Kastor's attacks. 1 hit. 1 wound. Failed it. Parry. Failed that as well. After all of this, Otto has been wounded. Otto's attacks. 1 hit. A wound. I've just realised he should have been testing on a 3+, not a 2+, because Otto has strength 4. But he saves. Just. Horse. Hit. No wound. 9 knight attacks. 2 hits. Come on, guys. No wounds. 4 horses. 3 hits. 1 wound. Because of the repositioning, 15 spear attacks. 8 hit. 4 wound. All failed. Oh no, that's 4 knights. The entire back row is gone. Plus the rank. So Kastor loses, but still steadfast, testing with 3. Like, he's incredibly hard to break next to this Acropolis. He passes. He really, really wanted to win here. Wissenland Turn 4. The halberdiers are charging the Acropolis. And fighting buildings is weird, but we'll come to that later. But one thing to note is they don't get their ordinary +1 for charging because of the building. The Pistoliers are going to move 3 around there and then 5 forward. And then they're going to march another 8. These archers are going to shift a few inches this way. Moving sideways costs double movement, so they're just going to move 2. Magic! Oh, there is no magic on this side because MacLeod is gone. He's dead. He got run down by pistoliers. Instead, shooting. Can this thing see anything other than these pistoliers? Sort of can't. Like, I mean, could it? I guess it could. Because it's far enough back from this hill, it might be able to see that. But, I don't know, that might just be because I'm high up. I suppose it can see someone on this hill, but... Yeah, I'd say they can see each other. And it is just at the very fringe of its range. 48 is its range. It's about 1.4 inches between the edge of the base and the center, so that would bring it down to just below 48 to put it there. So it can go another 0.2 this way. There, so it is on not MacLeod, Johan. Roll scatter. That way, I think that's a 6, they're all even numbers. So that way 6 inches is going to demolish a load of the crossbowmen instead. Center point isn't over anybody, but it hits 8 crossbowmen for a strength 2 hit. 2 wounds, because they don't have a save. I've never done this before, but I'm going to try firing grape shot, because it's only a 12-inch range and the pistoliers are right there. Roll an artillery dice to find out how many shots. 4. 1 hit. Grape shot is strength 5, so that's a wound. No armor. And with that, they lose 25% of their units, so they have to test. And they are within the general's range. On a 9, they pass. The archers shooting the crossbowmen, although can they see... Ooh. These 3 archers are going to try and shoot at Johan, because he's not technically in a unit, so he's targeted separately. No, it was a low chance to hit. Huntsman against the pistoliers. Champion. Yes. Rest of the unit. 2. 2 wounds. 1 save, 1 dead. Likewise, that's 25%, testing on 7. Which they fail. Again, they flee. 10. That way. These pistoliers are really, really awful in my mind. I say that, these ones have done well. I suppose the difference is they charge 2 units of shooting, whereas they only charge 1. And, you know, luck plays a big part in this. Combat. Let's do this one first. Otto and Kastor. Kastor's attacks. 2 hit. 2 wound. 2 fail. Otto is cut down by Kastor in the challenge. So he is removed, but because they strike at the same time, he might still take Kastor out as well. 2 hit. 1 wound. He does. He takes Kastor out at the same time. They both go down. Amazing. Which actually opens the door for them both technically surviving the fight. Because it's not something I've mentioned up to now. I'm keeping track of like the fate of all the characters. And the ones that survive, and I'll talk about it more in the campaign turn, they may come back. So the fact that they both sort of died, or, you know, died in inverted commas, in a challenge with just the 2 of them, means that it's more likely they both survived. The rest of the fight, though. 5 night attacks. 5 hits. 3 wounds. No saves. They were spurred on by their general falling. 4 horses. 2. And 1. Another dead. This is the best they've fought all bloody game. And they're actually striking with 2 fewer because they're not in contact anymore. 13 attacks. 5 hit. 3 wound. 3 saved. I can't believe it. Knights actually won the fight because they managed to finally do some wounds. Despite losing Kastor, they won the fight. So that means they're testing, the spearmen are testing on the generals, which is an 8. They are steadfast still, so... And they lose! They actually break from... Wow! And because their battle standard bearer's gone, they don't get the reroll. They actually break. They flee. 8 and are pursued. 8. They get run down. They go... They get run down by the knights. I am astounded that that just happened. So first of all, ones within 5. Oh, there are none. The only one within 5 is in combat. They get run down. This massive unit of spearmen breaks. So they're just all gone. A massive unit of spearmen just gets taken out by 4 knights. Wow. Seeing Kastor go down just really spurred the Knights of the Blazing Sun on to do him proud. And now the building assault. And building assaults are different. First of all, you can't use your weight of numbers. You're limited to 10 models attacking and 10 defending. So we're going to go with just the front row for convenience for this, and the 2 rows for this. Helmet will still challenge, because you can still challenge during building assaults, and it will be accepted by the champion on the other side. Helmet's attacks, 3 hits, 2 wounds, yeah, he's dead. And then the majority are done simultaneously apart from Culper. And by the way it's written, it seems like all 10 count as in contact, so there are no supporting attacks as such, which means all 10 militia get to use their extra attack from 2 hand weapons, which is 18 attacks. 7, 9 total. 6 wounds, 2 saves, 4 dead. Ah, actually, my mistake, they do get an extra guy to step up, because the guy who died in the challenge is replaced before the rest of the unit fights, so they do get an extra 2 attacks. 2 hits, 1 wound, 1 kill. 9 halberdier attacks, 3, 2 wounds. They do have hatred in the first round of combat, so they do get to reroll the 6, that's another 4. And another 4 wounds. Also, just to clarify, other characters in the unit don't get the hatred that Culper gives, so Helmet doesn't get hatred. Culper's attacks, 2 hits, 2 wounds. And that is all of the combat for the resolution, because they don't get ranks, they don't get banners or anything because of the building. So the ones in the building lose by 5. They are steadfast, both because of the building and because of the Acropolis, so they are testing on 7, which they hold. Solland Turn 4. Charging the cannon, and it's within the minimum, so I don't need to roll. The Knights are going to reform to there, and I need to see if they recover, which I should have done before the reform, but they do, because they're not quite down to 25%. Yay. Magic, because there is still a little bit of magic. 5 and 3. Culper can still channel. And the other one, Johann, nope. Plague of Rust on the Halberdiers. Ooh, Irresistible Force, that's bad. I thought there was a minute chance we were going to go a whole game without an Irresistible Force, but no. So the Halberdiers themselves are reduced to no armor save, but Helmet and Culper both lose some of the armor they have. And a result of 4. That is Dimensional Cascade, large template over the wizard. Every model undertakes a strength 10 hit. I don't know why anyone would be a wizard in the Warhammer world. Is it just like, if you have the skill, you have to use it because what else do you have going on? But like the risk of death as a wizard in the Warhammer world seems astonishingly high, even higher than for a normal soldier. Johann and 5 crossbows. Johann is fine. 5 crossbows are definitely not fine. Now we find out if Johann is absorbed. 6. No, he is not. So Johann has got exceptionally lucky. There was a massive dimensional cascade around him, and all it did was reduce kill 5 men, but reduce a load of spell dice he didn't have. So they have to take a panic test now, because they just exploded on 7, which they pass. Okay, wow. Kastor really must inspire loyalty. Oh yeah, Brooke here had a special scroll or a scepter or whatever that let him add to dispel dice, but oh no, he might still use that. I completely forgot that Culper could cast spells on the previous Wissenland magic phase, so he probably could have used a battle prayer, but oh well. Shooting. These 3 crossbows are going to shoot at the archers. 1. And a wound. Oh wait, no, that should have been a 6 to hit, not a 5. No hit, no wound. And that's it, the pistoliers can't shoot. So, combat. These all strike at the same time, so I will do the Pistoliers first. With the horses, 3 hits, 2 wounds, no saves. 3 crew, because they strike at the same time, 2 hits, 1 wound, no save. They actually get a kill. Testing on a -2 for the crew, so a 5, which they fail, which automatically destroys the weapon. They abandon it, so I'm just going to leave it there for the look of the thing, but the crew is gone. And they will reform to face that way. Then the Acropolis fight, continuing with the assault on the building, 10 and 10, front row and front 2 rows. Helmet strikes first, 2 hit, 1 wound, 20 militia attacks, 3, 10, 6 wounds, and now they get no armor save at all. 9 halberdier attacks, 6, they don't get hatred because that's only for the first round of combat, 3 wounds, Culper, 1 hit, no wound. The militia actually win the fight. Oh, actually, sorry, I got this slightly wrong. They probably shouldn't have fought a round of combat this time because they get pushed back because they haven't fled. So although they lost the fight, they held, so they didn't flee and they sort of get pushed back. So unlike most combat, it's one that you sort of have to reinitiate each round. So I guess the point is that would then allow them to leave the building. So I guess that means all of these things I just killed come back to life, because that's not how it works. Which is sort of a shame, because this is the one time the militia actually did something bloody good with them, with their numbers. Into Wissenland Turn 5. They're gonna... I mean, they know the knights are coming, but they still want to reassault the building. The Pistoliers are gonna move up, and because they're fast cavalry, they can march and shoot in the same turn, so they're actually going to move another 8 inches forward, because they are going to try and kill Johann. It is worth rolling magic, so 7 and 4. Culper channels. Johann channels. No. Culper's going to cast Shield of Faith to give them a ward save now that they're out of armor. A total of 10. That's poor. Dispelling on 4. Yay, dispelled it. Shooting. Let's go with the Pistoliers against Johann. The back row are long range, but the rest are not. Champion. 1. Front row. 4. 3. Back row. 2. Total of 6 hits. 5 wounds. Yeah, I think Johann just got blasted away. He has been so lucky this game. He's been avoiding everything, and then he just gets side-flanked by some Pistoliers who just absolutely mince him. This triggers a panic test in the crossbowman, because technically it is a unit being wiped out. Testing on 7. Succeed. 10 archers shooting at the crossbowman, long range. 2 hits. 2 kills. Leaving just a single guy in the unit. The front row of huntsmen are in range of the Pistoliers, so they're going to try and finish them off. Champion hits. 1 other hits. 1 wound. Failed the save. They're going to have to panic test again. On 7. They passed this time. Is there anything the mortar can shoot at? I kind of don't think there is. Because they can't... no, he can't see the final crossbowman is blocked by a pillar. Oh, they can see the knights. That seems risky. Oh, and the Pistoliers right there. Yeah, okay. Let's mortar the knights. This cannot possibly scatter and go wrong. And... nope, just goes that way 6 inches, which is going to be nothing. The only combat is the building assault, so let's redo that one from last turn that shouldn't have happened. Helmet. I guess this is another instance of Helmet being very lucky, isn't it? You know, the one time his unit would lose, and turns out it didn't actually happen. 2 kills, 20 militia attacks, 7, 12. And they get no saves, so 7 kills. That is actually better than they did last time. 9 halberdier attacks, 4, and 4. Culper, 2 hits, 2 kills, brings it to a draw. So because it's a draw, once again, they have to back away. They don't manage to overrun the building. Solland Turn 5. The knights are charging. And they are going to... They're going to take some risks here, because they need to use the impact hits. So they're actually going to charge through the woods and get all 4 of them in base contact. But that is going to mean that 3 of them are going to have to test for dangerous terrain. Champion passes. The 2 others... Oh, they both pass. Alright, then we've got a load of impact hits coming. And the majority of the unit is in the Abyssal Woods, meaning they now cause fear. The Pistoliers are going to move forward 16, because they are determined to try and kill some things. These Pistoliers, they're actually going to focus on the mortar. So they're going to reform and then move 8 up this way. They can shoot after marching, and reforming is free, so they're then going to rotate a little and march. So they're going to be firing point blank range at this thing. And finally, the remaining militia are going to leave the building, and they're going to be placed here. So they can't do anything else this turn, but if there is a next turn, which there probably will be, they will be able to charge in at the halberdiers. No magic on the Solland side, so shooting. The Pistoliers up here. They're within half range, so they are going to open up. Champion still hitting on 7s, mind. Fails. The other guy hitting on 8s. Ah, bloody hell. Pistoliers, seriously, they're too short range. That's the issue with them. That because of the multiple shots, they're so short range that you have to be sort of directly in front of them to hit on anything better than a 6. And against skirmishers in cover, it's just impossible. Crossbow shooting the... Yeah, he's going to shoot the huntsman as well. Nope, nothing. I don't know what their chances are of damaging the mortar, but they're going to try up here, so they're just going to shoot it point blank. Champion, 1 hit. Other guy, 1 hit. Low chance to wound, no. Worth a try. The important combat then. First of all, impact hits before challenges are done, so 4 impact hits at strength 3. Plus side is, any of these are just instant wounds. 2 wounds because they don't have armor anymore. Helmet is going to challenge, which will be accepted by the champion. And Culper is going to make way. So he is also in contact. Challenge first, Helmet versus the Knights of the Blazing Sun champion. Helmet attacks first, 3 hits, 2 wounds. Oh, and he failed one of the saves, so he's dead. And doesn't get to attack back. These 2 are going for the ordinary halberdiers. 2 hits, 1 wound. I need to roll fear. I completely forgot to roll fear. Testing on 8. Oh, doesn't matter. 2 horses on halberdiers. Fail. 1 knight on Culper. Hit. Wound. And he failed the save as well. They actually wounded Culper. The horse against Culper. Hit. Nothing. 1 halberdier strikes back. Miss. With a reroll because of hatred. First round. Still a miss. Culper. 2 hits. I think this might swing it. 2 kills. Scratch that. 2 saves. No, 2 kills. Reducing the knights to a single unit. But they still win because they get 2 for the rank. But that isn't quite enough to beat that. So yeah, the Helmet's unit loses. They are, steadfast because of being near the Acropolis, but they are going to have to test on 8, which they pass. Damn, if they'd managed to break both of these massive regimental units, that would have been incredible. They are going to try and reform from defeat, which does apply the difference, so testing on a 7 to reform, which they succeed easily. So I'm going to change them into a much tighter unit, like so. Both because it makes better use of their size now that they're somewhat depleted, but also it sort of makes it harder for them to just charge in and get spread too thin. They also get to face them so that they're not in the flank, but it means that if they get the charge, they'll be in the rear, so they need to win in their turn, which they probably will. Wissenland Turn 6, their final turn. Pistoliers are charging this guy, and the archers are going to move forward. I think to there, and then rotate. Nope, wrong one. That one. To keep the Pistoliers in sight. Magic! The final magic turn of the game. 5 and 7. Sorry, 7 and 5. Shield of Faith on 5 dice. 18. Trying to Dispel on 5. Irresistible Dispel. I'm shocked that we've only had one Irresistible Force this entire game. But that's dispelled, so that's the end of magic. Shooting. The mortar cannot shoot, because it has no line of sight, because it's being blocked by angry Pistoliers. Huntsman against the Pistoliers. Champion hit. Rest of the unit 3 hits. 2 wounds. Both saved. Whole unit of archers against the Pistoliers as well. 4 hits. 2 wounds. 1 saved. So that is the last non-champion Pistolier, but they are again going to have to test Panic. On 7. Pass. Combat. Pistoliers versus a single crossbowman. Let's do the crossbowman first. Hit. Nothing. Pistoliers and horses hitting back. 1. They failed. They failed to kill him. And because there are no banners, no ranks... Oh no, they charged in the flank, so yeah, he does still lose the combat. Damn, I thought he was going to hold. Testing on 5. Fails. Flees. 3. He's definitely dead. As they very, very easily catch up. And then the single knight against the halberdiers. Can't challenge, but Culper can make way. So it is just a knight against 2 characters here. Helmet first. 2 hits. 2 wounds. He's dead. He failed one of the saves. Damn. The Knights of the Blazing Sun fought so hard in this one. You know, after Kastor left the battle. So they are going to reform to face that way. And I think that is pretty much the fight over. We go into Solland's turn. And all that's left are some Pistoliers and some militia who have seen the entire army get minced up. So these militia are actually gonna... This is me playing the narrative part. These militia are not gonna charge into this fight. Like, is it worth... They're gonna die, and... They, at this point, whether they get paid is sort of up in the air. So they're probably not gonna charge. Like the Pistoliers, you know, they're believers. They're gonna charge, but the militia... considerably less likely. So I don't think it's worth charging that. He's more likely to die. They're more likely to die because, like, from a gameplay perspective, it also makes sense not to charge in because they could wipe out the militia quite easily, but they're not going to kill the unit. So unless they did really, really luckily manage to make the unit flee and then charge them down. But I think I will charge here because they stand a decent chance at killing off the mortar. Skipping the magic, I will still shoot with the Pistolier, because he's happy doing that from a distance. 1 hit, 1 wound, and a kill. Nice. And then the last thing in the game is this combat here. Pistoliers and crewmen fighting at the same time. Pistoliers, 6 hits, 1 wound. Crewmen, 2 hits, 2 wounds, and 1 save. Wow. The Pistoliers barely win, but they do win, so testing on a 6. They hold. So yeah, that is it. Well, I don't know who, I know who the winner is, but I don't know, how much of a victory that'll be. Of the 113 men the Solland Revivalists fielded, 10 are still standing. And of the 136 in Wissenland's force, 52 are still standing. Wissenland scored 940 for dead and fled, 25 for a sea standard, and 100 for killing the general, giving them a total of 1,065 points. Solland got a total of 629 points for dead or fled, 25 for a sea standard, and 100 for defeating the battle standard bearer, bringing them up to a total of 754. If my calculations are correct, that would mean that is a solid victory and not a massacre. For a massacre, there'd need to be a difference of 600 points. So that is our first one that isn't a massacre. So good going, despite losing terribly. I think the main issue with the Solland force was it was a bad army list. Basically, the militia are terrible, and not using the core parts of the Empire, things like the regiments and detachments, was supposed to be like a unique, different way to play, but doesn't work. So next time we will see how this has affected the campaign scores. If you haven't seen the other 2 battles from round 1, you should go check those out, and next time we'll be back on the campaign map and doing Mighty Empire's campaign stuff to determine the next round of battles. Thank you very much for watching. Apologies if I made any mistakes in these. There are so many rules and it's hard to keep track, but I think I did alright in this one. Empire is a relatively simple army as they go. It's just the core rules that are still hard to keep track of. So thank you very much. Subscribe for more board games, card games, miniatures like this and TTRPGs, and I will catch you later.